Met a Sasquatch at a weed shop once, but that's something for another day. That is something for another day. Now, I tried to get myself a mailbox. Since I'm off grid, they don't want a post, but they want a mailbox all the way out here, so it's going to have to be a post office box. June 24th, 2022. This is sometime in the afternoon. Needed to do a couple things. Register to vote, get a mailbox, get something to eat. So I go to the post office, Antonito, June 24th, 2022, sometime in the afternoon. The address is 428 Main Street, Antonito, Colorado, 81120. Phone number 719-376-5914. Now, Chad Morris, I think that's the guy, what he said his name was, Chad Morris. He just said his name. He's an honest man. Where do you live, Chad Morris? What is your address? Tell me exactly where you live. And tell me your name. And then I'll call you a liar and see how you feel about it. Apparently Jeremy is his superior, and then he said the Attorney General is Louis DeJoy, or not for sure. The Attorney General, the Postmaster General of America, Louis DeJoy. So I just had words. I tried to get a mailbox. He said I couldn't get a mailbox. And I said, well, you're privileged. And he says, don't call me privileged. And I said, well, you're a dickhead. And he said, well, don't call me a dickhead. And I said, well, but you are one. He's like, well, if you keep this up, I'm going to call the police. And I was like, but I mean, this is bullshit. You're sitting there trying to tell me what? Oh, I see. So he's afraid of my light. A 50-year-old, blue-eyed, white male. He's afraid of my light. You have some little toothpick, a drop of power, some bureaucrat, a drop of power. They'll give him an inch, they take it a mile. Apparently that post office, they went ahead and took in Robert Pickerell's mail. Who is Robert Pickerell? Well, Robert Pickerell is the guy who was harassing me in Costilla County over and over again. Robert Pickerell was consorting with not just Kenny Capin, but Troy and Kevin Zinn and Hiram Richardson and a whole bunch of right-wingers. If not outright criminal, fascist, low-life degenerate. Now, he used to have 5 acres in his name. That 5 acres is now in GIS systems. It says that it's to Roark Company, some Roark Corporation, which is interesting. The Roark Corporation. But apparently Robert Pickerell was sending his mail through that mailbox. So I have to ask this guy. I think he's 100% sure he's a Republican. But I need to know if he's Confederate, KKK, or Nazi. Because I'm no longer a member of the Democratic Party. I'm part of the anti-Nazi, the anti-KKK, the anti-Confederate Party. I'm pro-working class. I'm pro-farmer. Now, Robert Pickerell's name isn't on that plot of ground anymore, which is weird. So he didn't own it. He did own it. Then he had the mailbox in Antonito, and now he doesn't have a mailbox, and he doesn't own the plot of ground. That plot of ground, it looks like it's back to the Roark something corporation. Now, that was, I believe, the same corporation that Xanis and Samantha McDonald, they bought their land from that same corporation. So, Robert Pickerell, what is your relationship to Xanis and Samantha McDonald? Also, Xanis and Samantha McDonald still own those 5 acres. So they had bought their property through the same people, the Roark Corporation. Robert Pickerell is 50 years old, white male, blue eyes, weighs about 150, 175 pounds. Or no, that's... Not only does Robert Pickerell get a mailbox, but Andre Psycho Barrows. You had a serial killer. A serial killer around here killed 1, 2, like 3 or 4? They're still finding bodies here and there. But this 50-year-old white male, he's had his entire life has been comfortable as heck. He's a little tiny snitch, a little scared, insecure. I'm so scared of everything. I wonder what kind of story he made up in his head. I bet you he's never had to worry about security, food, water, clothing, any of his Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When you have Nixon that said that most Americans were free from want, yeah, his entire life has been comfortable as fuck. So he is a privileged white person that people of color get mad at me about, because I am actually out and about with the public. So you want to get mad at me? He's the privileged white person who's sitting there saying that I can't even get a mailbox. Do you got a mailbox? Must be nice to be privileged. But he's the piece of shit that has got everything handed to him. He's got a silver spoon. He's got a silver spoon and lives in probably a gated community. And he gets his jollies by depriving good, hard-working class people, farmers, of a mailbox. So Robert Pickerel, some right-wing terrorist harasser. Andre Psycho Barros. Pickerel is associated with right-wing Nazis, right-wing sovereign movement. If he's not an outright member, he consorts and is associated with them. Andre Psycho Barros, straight up serial killer. He got his food, water, clothing, housing. He got his mailbox too, didn't he? Probably had, what? Car, house, driver's license, but no insurance, no doubt. Was he in compliance with planning and zoning? Did planning and zoning, did they make sure Andre Psycho Barros was, did they make sure his right to vote was upheld? Is he still registered to vote? Is Andre Psycho Barros still allowed to vote in Conejos County, even though he lives in jail in some, is New Mexico, or is he still here? I guess he'd be in Colorado somewhere. So yeah, Jesus Christ, if that's Chad Morris, Jeremy Louis DeJoy, the asshole, blue-eyed devil who runs the Antonito post office, it must be nice, man, to have a mailbox. My God, who couldn't survive without a mailbox? Once you got a mailbox, you know, I'm the person that actually sings about the mail. The mail must go through. I respect the post office. They're the ones that actually kind of start civilization. They're there before the courthouse and before the, you know, the center, the government centers and what have you. It started out with the post office. So, yeah, this guy, Silver Spoon, denied me of a damn thing. I was pissed off about it. Still pissed off about it. I wish America was a meritocracy. I'm sure there's not a competition. There's not a Trivial Pursuit game or a chess game or a basketball game. There's not a single competition. If it was fair. If America, I know America wasn't a meritocracy when Alec Baldwin played Trump on Saturday Night Live instead of that Anthony Adamanowicz. Anthony Adamanowic's impression was fucking dead on. There's a candidate in Archuleta County. She says, you know, life ain't fair. That's what my abuser said to me. She's got 5 boys. Life ain't fair. Life should be fair. This worries me about the Dreamers. You got Yahoo Falls Children's Massacre, Princess Corn Blossom. All the elderly women and children got into one spot. And that's when the white man killed them all. John Sevier, governor of Tennessee. So I was trying to register to vote and get a mailbox at the same time. Maybe that was too much. I think Obama's intentions were good. He wanted the Dreamers to remain citizens. Obama wanted the Dreamers to remain citizens. If America deports the Dreamers, we're still the racist conquistador colonizers since Yahoo Falls, Kentucky. Yahoo Falls was all the elderly women and children were gathered in one spot and the white man massacred them all. John Sevier, the governor of Tennessee, said of the natives that nits make lice. So they killed Tecumseh, Johnny Logan's entire family. The Sand Creek Massacre happened, Ludlow Massacre. So they try to say that Yahoo, Falls is some sort of myth, but there is a gap in the historical record about what exactly happened. But the point about what I'm saying is the Dreamers told us, we Americans, exactly who they were. And then because Trump and the Republican administration got in there, now that the administration had all their information, the new administration fucked them over. The Dreamers registered thinking that they were going to work to become Americans, but instead that list, that Dreamers list, the United States fucked them over for it. So fuck that noise. Fuck that bullshit. The Dreamers should just get in just for that. They were made to sign up and they trusted us that much. Can't stand motherfuckers who give you a fake. You want me to help you? You want me to help you or not? You want me to help you or not? Don't sound like you want to help me at all. He's trying to grab out my information because, he was curious about who I was and what I was doing. But that was after he fucked me over. This Chad Morris, you want to help me, huh? You got $100? You got a job for me? You ain't trying to help me. You got a black hippie ninja woman? You found my dream woman for me? You ain't trying to help me. Once again, an asymmetrical relationship. Like the Rio Grande Bank. They had all my information. And the good part of me said, well, hell, I told them that when I got a mailbox, I would tell them what the mailbox was. And I went and told them. But they said I needed to prove it. I drove an hour. This is the third time. You got $1,000 or $2 of my money. Why do you keep fucking with me every fucking time? Because I'm smiling? Because I'm tall? Because you're an insecure little worm? I'll ask him for his ID next time. Now, who are you? Now, I want to know your name. Give me your name, and I'm going to write down your ID number, and I'm going to type your information in. I mean, I told him everything, but it wasn't good enough. And then he was reaching out my information. I already told you where I lived. I told you exactly where I lived. I told you what my address was. I told you everything about me. And I know nothing about him, so I guess he's smart, right? Like I'm supposed to just trust him willy-nilly no matter fucking what, and supposed to give him all my... Fastest motherfuckers are never satisfied. They're never satiated. So, give a douchebag maybe a little bit here or there. 1, 2, 3. But if they say 4, 5, 6, fuck you. You piece of shit. Goddamn, whatever little bit of thing that I wanted before isn't worth all this bullshit, all this noise. So, okay. It's weird that I feel like I have a right to a mailbox. Like I have a right to vote. It's like I dropped my dollar and then I went to the guy that had the dollar and he found it and I said, hey, can I get that dollar? I dropped it and he's pretending like it wasn't my dollar to begin with. My right to vote, my right to a mailbox, it's federal government too. Federal government. I'm writing a letter to planning and zoning. So, I'm the one that believes in planning and zoning. I'm the one that believes in an orderly development in society. I think it's good. I think it's smart. What's not good is corruption. So I'd like to see due process. The last 5 people, is it just... I wasted thousands of dollars planning and zoning. Didn't have enough money to have a house that was secure or warm. It's cold out there. But I was paying for my damn permits. And then I guess that's how stalkers win, right? They start stalking a person. The person says, hey, I'm being stalked. And then who wants to deal with that, right? I met a Sasquatch at a weed shop once. Now this Sasquatch, okay? I go in, I'm all smiles and I'm just all happy. And Sasquatch doesn't like me being happy at all. And this is right here in Antonito. And so I'm just sitting there going on and just basically I'm taking one position, taking the other position, but Sasquatch is in a mood. Sasquatch is just a moody bitch. So Sasquatch, he didn't like that I'm all happy and whatnot. Got to, do some sort of inventory managing control or something. Comes over towards me and is like standing like this close to me. Standing this close to me and like fidgeting with, things at the counter. Sasquatch was all the way back here and over here, and then all of a sudden, when he wanted to mess with me, he gets into my space. This is the whole thing about waving is that you don't have a weapon in your right hand. Hey, I don't have a weapon in this hand. So that's something, right? You may have a weapon in this hand, and hell, there might be something up your sleeve, right? Do some Die Hard. But, what was I saying? Asymmetrical relationships. I met a Sasquatch at a weed shop once. And Sasquatch, well, the Sasquatch didn't like that I was happy. So Sasquatch is like this close and pretending to like, count this or count that. And I was trying to relate to Sasquatch and be like, hey, Sasquatch, it is rough having, a bunch of facial hair and just being this, beast, this hairy, beast, right? So I had, leaned in and I kind of did this. And then Sasquatch started screaming, ah! You touched me! This ain't exact, but this makes it more interesting, actually. But it's the gist. And so Sasquatch, says, why'd you touch me? You can't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. And I was like, okay, I'm a little confused because I thought that, I'm the customer. You're supposed to treat the customer right. I was being happy-go-lucky. I was being a little corny, but frankly, if I come in and start yelling at everybody, you don't like that. So you don't like it when I'm, real. So I'm just going to kind of laugh it up, right? Just kind of be polite, laugh it up, pay you, the money, you give me my marijuana, then I go on my way. What is the problem? How is this a tough, transaction? Why is this so? Okay, so Sasquatch was freaking out, saying, acting like not only, that I had like touched Sasquatch, but I had like, smacked Sasquatch's ass and, I don't know how far we want to go, but, yeah, no, nothing like that happened. Nothing like that happened. I just leaned in and just said, hey, I can relate to what you were saying before. We might have disagreed at first, but I can relate to what you're saying. And then, Sasquatch said it again, and I thought about it, and it was like, I don't even think I fucking touched you, you motherfucker. I leaned into you, and I kind of like, I think maybe the top of my hairs of my knuckle might have touched the fibers of your shirt, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. You got into my space. You were like, within my space. And so if all I was just doing was leaned in and I said, hey, by the way, I kind of relate to what you were saying. And then, I had tapped into you, motherfucker. That's first degree assault. That's first degree assault, huh? That's sexual battery. That's first degree assault. No, that's bullshit. And that Sasquatch, I wonder how many times that Sasquatch had done it to other people. Now I want to know your ID. Now I want to know your name. Now I want to know all the information about you because you have all the power. I don't know who you are. You're behind the damn counter. And you didn't like that I was smiling and happy-go-lucky? That's some bullshit. And so I said to Sasquatch, I didn't touch you, you piece of shit. And then held out my chin, waiting for, Sasquatch to do something. And then the boss says, Sasquatch, get in the back room. And then told me to take a step back too. And I was a little mad about it, but I feel like, man, I mentioned something, and I've been happy-go-lucky. I've been in there 10 times, and he mentioned something about meth one time. So what, you think I'm coming in here crying about my problems and letting you know? I like expressing myself. I like talking to people. I like getting marijuana. I think it's a, revolutionary thing that we've legalized marijuana. So maybe I'm a little giddy when I'm buying my marijuana, but what the hell is the problem with any of those things? You're emptied out, hollowed out husk. You're a mean motherfucker. I think people are just evil, and they enjoy being evil. I guess coercion works, maybe evil works. I don't know. But I know I'm traumatized by evil. That Rio Grande bank, you think that bank teller, she lies awake at night and like, oh my God! He doesn't have a bank account. How is he going to cash his payroll checks? He doesn't have a credit card. How in the world is he going to order anything? I've always paid all my bills on time, every time. I remember one time the U.S. Bank just some guy just signed me right up. I was like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. I remember another time I got my checkbook stolen. I called it in. Nobody wrote any bad checks, so they didn't lose any money. But when I went to go open a checking account again, they just shook their head no. But I did my checkbook was stolen, so I canceled the checkbook. So if she got somebody to, convince somebody to take her check, then that's on her and that person. They're not going to get any of the money. So I can't stand, asymmetrical relationships, hypocrites, motherfuckers, You want to know my address, where I'm at? He's grabbing out my information once he done told me, And, yeah. I said something. He was an asshole or he was a motherfucker. What a motherfucker. You're such a motherfucker, man. Dickhead. I forget exactly. I called him one name, and then as I left, I said he was a motherfucker. But, that's bullshit. You got a bank account? You got a mailbox? Must be easy. You got what? Security and police protection too? Oh my God. Oh my God. You are privileged. Privileged. Food, water, clothing, shelter. You got it all. You got it goddamn made. My God. But fascists, they're never satisfied, never satiated. I don't trust that blue-eyed motherfucking white male piece of shit at the goddamn... It's okay for serial killers. It's okay for Robert Pickrell, right-wing, possibly Nazis, possibly Confederate KKK, some sort of white supremacy, right-wing, sovereign movement, posse, some criminal gang activity is going on. Robert Pickrell, he gets a mailbox. That Roark Corporation, Xanis and Samantha, right? They probably got a mailbox too, right? Chad Morris gets a mailbox. Jeremy, he gets a mailbox. Everybody gets a mailbox. Who doesn't get a goddamn mailbox? Must be nice, America. Must be nice. But that's just what the Republicans, they just hand out mailboxes. Just hand out free mailboxes to everybody. I bet he's the first asshole to bitch about welfare, and he's got a government job. You're on a jobs program. Why don't you just quit? I'll go ahead and deliver the mail. You don't want to deliver people's mail? I'll deliver people's mail, okay? Who couldn't survive with a silver spoon in their mouth, huh? You tell me, America, who couldn't survive with the silver